Hey everyone, we are back. Today we're gonna go ahead and do something very special, and we're gonna go ahead and make a very big decision. We're gonna go ahead and decide whether we like the cast better from season 1 or season 2. So there were 12 casts on both seasons, obviously a lot of action. I think both seasons were great, but for this video we're gonna go ahead and make that definite choice. It's not gonna be easy, so the way I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna pick one cast from one season and match him up against with another person from the next season. So we're gonna see at the end who wins more matches, and then at the very end we're gonna decide which season is better, season 1 or season 2. So if you guys enjoy these type of Singles Inferno videos, by the way, please consider dropping that like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know which season you guys like the most. So let's get to it. So this is a very tough one because there's no one else in season 1 that's anywhere close to Nadine. Nadine was kind of like the one that had a lot of like American traditional values in her. She kind of spoke English like extremely well. You know, she went to Harvard, so I had a very tough time finding someone for her. And ultimately, I decided to go with Yea Won as her counterpart. It might not be the best match, but if I had to put one person with someone else for every single 12 slots, this is the best I can do. And the reason why I feel like this actually does make sense is because both of them end up falling for the new guy, right? Yea Won with Cha Hyun-Seung, and then Nadine with Jin Young, and neither one of them succeeded at the very end, really, with the person they really want to be with. I know Yea Won ended up going with Jun Sik at the very end, but I feel like he wasn't really someone she totally was into, but she just really wanted to give him a shot, so I don't blame her. So both of them kind of, you know, wasn't able to fully utilize all of their positive energy, all of the resources they had at their disposal to kind of get the guy they want. And if I had to make a pick, Yea Won or Nadine, I'm gonna go with Nadine. Yeah, I love Yea Won. I think if I was a guy on the show, I would go after Yea Won the most. So I was very shocked that no other guy really went after her aside from Jun Sik. But Nadine just brought a lot of that toughness. She went out of her way, broke out of her shell to kind of really approach Jin Young, and she did like a really good job. I love how strong she was throughout the entire season. At the very end, she was still all smiles, even though he didn't pick her. So Nadine, you got my vote on this one. This one is probably going to be the most obvious one. Who do you guys think, if I were to toss out the name Seulki for season 1, who do you think is the best Seulki impersonator? Well, not really impersonator, since obviously the season 1 person did it first, and of course it's Gia with 3 guys after her: Shi Hoon, Hyun-Joong, and Cha Hyun-Seung. So all 3 guys after her, and then for Seulki, of course, she had Jong Woo, Jong Woo, and Jin Young. So both of them super popular. Both of them, neither one really had to make much of an effort, and I don't blame them. Like, why go out of your way when you don't need to, right? So neither really had to like endure a lot like throughout the entire season, and I feel like if anything, Seulki probably tried a little bit harder, and she had to kind of invest a little more of her emotions because of how hard it was for her to kind of capture the heart of Jin Young. And at the very end, you can kind of see that struggle that she had in her, and she even openly stated that in life, you know, it was kind of always easy for her until she got here, and then it became a lot harder. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Seulki my seal of approval over Gia for this head-to-head matchup. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Minji versus Minsu. So both of them, aside from, you know, their name being very similar, both of them, of course, were new girls to the show. They instantly kind of gravitated towards someone who was already kind of interested in someone else and tried to pry them away. And both of them have like a really aggressive quality about them. Because you remember when Minsu interrupted Seo and Sumin's conversation when they were getting water, and then Minsu came out of nowhere like Randy Orton and just like interjected into there and said, I'm a little thirsty too. I need me a cup of water. I need me a cup of Se-Hoon right now. So it really sabotaged my girl Sumin a lot. And then on the other side, we saw who was it? Minsu going after Jin Young, even though Nadine was already talking to him on the beach, and then he's like, give me that blanket, and just took it away from Nadine. And then I think Minsu and Minji have a lot in common. Both of them are very aggressive. They're kind of like alpha females a little bit, and they both made their intentions clear as well. So it's a very tough choice between those two. But I'm gonna give the slight nod to Minji just because I feel like her emotions towards Se-Hoon were a little more genuine, in my opinion. Even though I know Minsu did cry when Jin Young kind of rejected her at the in episode 10, but I feel like Minji, I better use those names like wrong a few times already in this short clip. But Minji, I feel like really tried hard, just did everything she possibly could, and just couldn't break that infatuation that Seo Eun had with Jin Young. So I'm gonna go with Minji on this one. This next one might be a little controversial because I know a lot of you guys like Jin Young a lot, but for this video, I'm gonna make a very big connection between him and Cha Young-sun, because obviously both of them are new, both of them are super popular, both of them are cool as hell. They both have tattoos. They don't really necessarily like follow the usual male stereotypes when I think of Koreans. I think both of them are really masculine for especially for the guys on the show. I feel like overall the guys on the shows were like pretty, like, I don't know, like just super nice and shy, but while those two seem to have no problem like approaching women, showing their intentions and just being cool overall. So it was very tough for me to pick one over the other, but if I had to choose one, I'm gonna go with Cha Young-sun. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys just went ooh, or maybe not. I don't think you guys care what I say, but I think for him, the reason why I picked him was because he found the girl that he liked, right, Gia, and he fought pretty much the entire time he was there to try to get her. And he also had a little bit less time to kind of operate. I think Jin Young came in like episode 3 or something, but Cha Young-sung, I don't think he even came until like episode 5 or whenever. I think the first season had 8 episodes, but he came a lot later, right? Because I think Sumin was essentially the Jin Young of season 1, and Cha Young-sung came in the second wave of new people, and he had less time to operate, and I thought he had a really strong shot at Gia nevertheless. And I think overall he just did a really good job. He didn't really like dangle much hope with any of the other women, didn't really want to let anyone down. I know he had a little thing with Yea Won, but I don't know. I don't think she even fully believed that he would pick her at any point. While with Jin Young, he kind of diverted a lot of his attention towards the end to Nadine, which I think turned Seulki off a lot. While with Cha Young-sun, he never let Gia even think that he might pick someone else. So I really like that quality about Cha Young-sung. So he's gonna get my vote. This is a very close matchup, and I'm gonna give him the slight edge. This one was very tough because I was looking at Jiyeon, and I'm like, who the hell in season 2 is a Jiyeon? And in one respect, I was like, who was the person that someone really wanted? And I was thinking Jong Woo really wanted Seulki, but Seulki had a lot of attention while Jiyeon didn't really have that much attention. And when I was making my list, this was one of the last ones I had to do because I couldn't really identify the counterpart. And ultimately I did. I'm gonna go with Soe here. And the reason I'm going with Soe is because both of them are, just appearance-wise, they're both like very kind of natural looking, young, like light-skinned, just like really sweet girls, like the girl from next door. And aside from like any of the storylines around them, I feel like both of them were just like almost like have similar personalities in a way. So they're kind of like nice around every single person. They kind of give everyone a chance. And I think they just get along with anyone they interact with. Even watching them kind of outside of Singles Inferno, both of them are super nice on YouTube or wherever else I've seen them in. So if I had to pick one over the other, I'm gonna go with Soe, just because I think she had to endure a lot more than Jiyeon. You know, Soe, of course, failed in her conquest of Yoong Jae, and even if she was like down and all, she was still trying to pick him up. And also on top of that, she was winning challenges, and then she also left the island with Sejun. So my girl was active, okay? So the entire season she was busy getting down. So I'm gonna give her a +1 there. All right, so for this next one, we're gonna go ahead and match up Hyun-Joong and Yoong Jae. Hope I get that right. I'm gonna use their names incorrectly at some point. So both of them kind of identified someone they liked really early, pursued them, got them, and it just kind of stayed like that the entire season. Both of them obviously like super nice, outgoing, was open to kind of helping other people out when it comes to like love advice, which I really, really appreciate of both the guys. And both of them were really strong during out the challenges. I think Yoong Jae won some challenges. Yoon was like obviously super, super strong, but I think a lot of people ganged up on him, so he kind of struggled a little bit. But for the most part, I think both of them did really, really well throughout both seasons, and both of them did amazing at the very end, of course, getting the girls they want. So if I had to pick one over the other, I'm gonna go with Hyun-Joong, just because I think he had to go through a lot more with Gia. But Gia is the type that kind of like won't like fully tell you exactly how she feels. You know, she always tells people how she like talks with her eyes. So because of that, Young was kind of a little sad. Remember, each time they came back from like Paradise, he was like, "Oh, I was missing you. I was like, I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about you." And yeah, so he was like kind of suffering a little bit whenever she was gone. So because of that, I'm gonna go with Young on this one. And sorry, Yoong Jae, but you end up with Se-Hoon, so your life is pretty nice right now too. So let's talk about this odd matchup. So Shi Hoon and Jong Woo. So both of them are very similar in terms of kind of like their personalities in a way. They're super, super nice and caring to the women around them, but they can sometimes be like really neglectful of like all the clues that the woman might be emitting to them. Like Shi Hoon, for example, with Gia, he just never really could fully see that she wasn't like into him, and he could never fully move on from that. I know like when you're in like Inferno, it's hard to kind of move on from someone because you're still constantly seeing them, and not just seeing them, you're seeing them with some other guy. So I know it's very hard. So Jong Woo faced the exact same thing with Seulki, like after she explicitly told him that, hey, we should just be friends. The next following episodes, he was still trying to sabotage Jong Woo, he was still sabotaging Jin Young, and then at the very end, he still picked Seulki. So both of them kind of messed up, in my opinion, throughout the season, and just couldn't really move on or open themselves up to other possibilities. They both had other options. Jong Woo could have gone with Nadine, and Shi Hoon could have gone with Sumin, but nah, they wouldn't allow it. So if I had to pick one over the other, I'm gonna go with Shi Hoon on this one, just because I think he was just a little more sincere in his approach, and he was a little more open, respectful of kind of giving Gia space. While I think Jong Woo was kind of more kind of constantly still trying to convince Seulki, hey, give me a shot. So I'm gonna go with Shi Hoon on this one. So this one is gonna be about the Romeos of the season. Season 1, we got Se-Hoon. Season 2, we got Jong Woo. You guys watched my first video where I ranked all the cast of season 2. So you already know where I'm going with this. I'm gonna go with Jong Woo, of course. He's my favorite character of either seasons right now, because I think he's just such a genuine person. He tried really hard. Amazing story behind like trying to get this girl he likes, and just being persistent and very sincere throughout the entire process. So I have to give it to him. Of course, similarities between the two are kind of undeniable. Both of them going after one girl the entire season, trying really hard, denied a paradise for like 80% of the first part of the show before ultimately going to paradise with the person they like. So both of them have my admiration and respect. But at the end of the day, Jong Woo, no one's bumping him. So another point for season 2. And this next one, I think it's going to be pretty obvious too. I think the most mature people on their respective islands, I think, was So-Yeon and Seo Eun, because both of them just constantly gave advice to every single person on the show. And even in Seo-Eun's case, she was giving Zoe advice on how to get with Yoong Jae, her own man. That's some cuck stuff right there. Sorry. That's not a curse word, in case you guys heard something else. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Both of them are just too nice, too mature for the people around them. They both seem like people that do really well when it comes to planning, making sure everyone's involved, feeling good about themselves. Like just someone you have to have in a group setting to kind of set the tone for everyone. And if I had to pick someone, I'm gonna go with So-Yeon, just because I think she had to definitely struggle a lot more with Jin Tae. I had no doubts that both of them would end up with each other, but Jin Tae definitely kind of made her run around the rosy a few times to kind of to fully see that. While with Se-Hoon and Yoong Jae, it was kind of done after the first Paradise. The rest of the season, there was no controversy. There's no doubt in either party's minds that those two would end up with each other. So So-Yeon had to deal with a lot more. I think at one point she even wanted to get off the island. She was like, "Oh, I think it's my time to go now." So she overcame that, worked really, really hard, and ended up being with the guy she really liked. So kudos to her. She gets my point. So any guesses who I am ranking or who I'm matching up Sejun with in this video? I'll give you guys a second. Yeah, so I'm glad we both think the same. So both of them obviously work together. They have this exact same wardrobe. Even in their personalities, Jin Tae and Sejun, just like they're both like kind of passive in a way. Like they don't say more than they need to. Like they're not like in your face. They're always kind of like saying like a side comment that's not even maybe not even meant to be funny. And then somehow it's just like absolutely hilarious, meme worthy material. So both of them just like really endearing. I think both of them to me are like dudes that I would love to hang out with because they're just like so open and honest, and they call out people's BS all the time. Like Sejun was calling out BS left and right in season 2, and for that reason, I'm gonna go with Sejun on this one. It's tough because I love me some Jin Tae too. I think he was such an underrated character, and both of them did really well. I think both of them were pretty loyal. You know, Jin Tae was like a little bit swaying. He didn't like make his intentions as clear as he should have. Sejun, of course, definitely did with Zoe, and that's the reason why I gotta go with my man Sejun on this one. This one is also an odd one. So Jun Sik and Hanbin. You're probably like, huh? So the similarities are kind of on the surface level. More like both of them are kind of on the little bit, probably the shorter one of the males on their own respective seasons. Both of them were the best cooks on their best seasons, and both of them kind of went after one girl the entire time. So they never really spent any effort trying to like really talk to many other girls. I think Jun Sik kind of identified Yea Won super early, and after they went to Paradise together, they both kind of settled for one another. While with Hanbin, he was kind of going after Seulki, but he knew Yoong Jae already had like a big impression on her. So when he eventually went to Paradise with her, I think he made a pretty decent impression, but just not strong enough to kind of sway Seulki. But overall, I think Hanbin had to try a lot harder for the girl he wanted, right? Because Jun Sik kind of got Yea Won almost instantly, while Hanbin didn't even get this girl. So, but I'm not gonna ding Hanbin for the result, just because I feel like Jun Sik and Yea Won probably was not gonna work out, just because I always sensed that they were more friends than like love interests. While with Hanbin, he really, I think, really was kind of in love with Seulki, but just couldn't get through. He couldn't find that hole between Yoong Jae and Seulki. So I'm gonna give the nod to Hanbin. Of course, Hanbin's also one of my top 3 guys. I know I ranked him pretty high in my last video, or my first video, when I ranked all the season 2 casts, and I just think highly of him. So he's gonna get my point for that. All right, time for the nice girls. So I'm gonna go with Sumin and match her up with Sejong. Yeah. So I think appearance-wise, both of them could not look any different, of course. And I think even like personality-wise, they're a little different as well. Like I think Sumin is like just like your girl next door, super sweet, probably the sweetest girl of either 2 seasons. Just super shy, super respectful, and just like someone that's everyone's friend. And then Sejong, she's also super sweet, nice, everyone's friend, but also she has like a little bit of a confident side about her. Like, of course, her being a model in real life, she built up that confidence just in life in general. So she has, obviously a lot of exuberance, and she probably went on the show thinking that she could just get most of the guys instantly. Of course, she struggled a lot. She even had to admit that she was being humbled a little bit, that her standards were being too high. She openly admitted that. And I think there was a lot of self-reflection. And I really appreciate that about her, that she was opening up herself throughout the show to everyone. So I'm gonna give her my point because I think she deserves it. So Sejong, you got it. So the time has come. We've deliberated, we've done all the matchups, we've tallied all the points, and now's the time I have to tell you guys that points don't mean anything. So thank you so much for watching the entire video. But the points do help. It helps me analyze which season I like the most. But I'm not gonna just judge it on just cast. I'm gonna go ahead and think about this one. Season 1 or season 2? Which one do I want? Both are really great. Season 1 got me into the show. Season 2 got me to stay. Decision's hard. Season 2, Shumida. Hope I got that Korean right. So I choose season 2 because I think not just the casts are better, I think the storylines are better. The love, the triangles, the drama, the challenges were a lot more interesting in my opinion. There seemed like there was a lot of effort tried by all the cast members to do well. And you know, season 2 had the benefit as well to be able to watch season 1, see what they can do to strategize and do better on the show. So they had an advantage, and because of that, they also, you know, won the challenge between season 1 and season 2. But much respect to season 1 as well. Everyone did amazing, and I plan to watch the show as long as they're still around. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the matchups, and let me know in the comment section right now whether you guys like season 1 or season 2, and tell me which cast member from season 1 and season 2 you guys like the most, and which one between those two do you like even more. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.
왜 이리 삐걱대는 건지 이런 알 수 없는 마음 뭔지 잘하다가도 멈칫거리는 떨리는 내가 보일런지 두근거려 심장이 널 마주할 때마다 호흡해 다시